What is this? I grew up some bash and then smashed. I grew up in Westboro Baptist Bash, and here's why I left this Bash hyphenated name. Who knew?
I was a blue-eyed, chubby-cheeked 5-year-old when I joined my family on the picket line for the first time. My mom made me leave my dolls in the minivan. I'd stand on a street corner in the heavy Kansas humidity, surrounded by a few dozen relatives, with my tiny fist clutching a sign that I couldn't read yet. Gays are worthy of death. This was the beginning.
Gays are worthy of death. Wow. So immediately, just right off the bat, she's like, "Oh, I didn't even know how to read. I was forced to hold up this sign of hatred." Wow, amazing. Who knew? Who knew it? Who knew it? Who knew children are being traumatized, right? Because where is she going? What she'll probably mention why she referenced what
Our
in
protest soon
reference to
became a
what.
daily occurrence and an international phenomenon, and as a member of Westboro Baptist Church, I became a fixture on picket lines across the country. The end of my anti-gay picketing career, and life as I knew it, came 20 years later, triggered in part by strangers on Twitter who showed me the power of engaging the other.
So apparently she was just bashed for 20 years, and bash, somebody on Twitter saved her. Wow. Amazing. Who knew you could just go on bash Twitter and be saved? Wow. Who just kind-hearted tweeters out there. All the tweeters are just on Twitter and they're tweeting and sweet nothing. Right? They're the hummingbird that's just relentlessly sucking some bash hole that doesn't know it's there. It's just there. It's just there and providing messages, information. Oh, sweet nectar. Oh, in bash, these characters or less. Soon it'll be just one character. One character. That's it. Oh, who knew? Just symbolism, smash. You're just bashing fractals and smashed. And you're like, well, yes, amazing. Mandarin is like that. Japanese is like that. They're all little characters, little lines of Smash, and they all mean something, and you have to know what they mean. That's Smash. So it's who knew it's possible, but you're just long-winded. You're long-winded, and then that's why you tweet. You pipe. You're piping out. There's pipe, tweet, just piping your pipe, just piping, just leading yourself into the abyss. Megan, what are you doing?
In my home, life was framed as an epic spiritual battle between good and evil. The good was my church and its members, and the evil was everyone else. My church's antics were such that we were constantly at odds with the world.
Oh, right, us and them, and good and evil, and us is good, and them is evil. Them. I mean, and this is a church, right? Apparently a church. So apparently they'll say, we're Christians, and this and this and that. What are they even talking about? Do they not know that mankind is deceived? And through the saving word, may those who listen hear it when it calls out. How? Oh, you don't know. You're like, oh, I have to hear it physically to understand it. No. Who knew you're being jarred by it every day? You're being just all kiltered, just bosh, bumped, and earthquake, and this and that. You're like, oh no, my feelings. Right? You have no idea. No idea, but somehow it's just always calling. So what do you listen to? Oh, I listen to hip hop. Exactly. Oh, I listen to Joe Rogan or just all these other bash alternative media sources that are just filled with honest, authentic, foolproof, scientific, hardcore, just facts. Facts. That's where I get my information is just facts. Based on some bashes that bash and smash. And yes, they boast and they tell me everything is okay. Amazing. So yes,
world. And that
Apparently
reinforced
these bashes are just out smashing, just us and them, and wow, who knew you actually live in a world that is exactly that, right? Oh, are you with us or the terrorist or this or that or this? Oh, who knew? So you're bashed. You're bashed. What are you saying? Oh, we were us and them, and I was saved from that, and now I'm in another nutshell of you and us, and somehow it's just us, and me and me and me, and how I can love you. Right, right. No, it's all a lie. What are they saying? What is she saying, Megan? What are you saying?
our otherness on a daily basis. Make a difference between the unclean and the clean, the verse says.
Exactly discernment. Who knew we ate and in disobedience from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Who knew? Who knew that our eyes were open to that knowledge? So who knew about discernment? Oh, who knew? They call it Jiminy Cricket. They call it just some It just evolved. Some bash thing that just was favorable, and somehow people reference it and call it conscience. Some people call it empathy. Some people call it morality. It's just all relative, but it's the same thing. It's just caring. It's just okay. It's just a thing called care. Okay, but so it evolved in all of us, and we have the ability to care, and yet we smash. Right. So if we all can understand that every basic goodness and all this, and then smash and smash, then also understand that what the world, the ways of the world are pushing is death. Yes, death in itself. It's marketed death, death, death everywhere. But you're like, no, I know what life is. Exactly. Because that's all it is. Life, the true promise, life everlasting. So what are you doing worshiping death? And how you should just be kind because we all die. So just be kind. Rewind. Oh, what's going on? Megan. Megan. Megan, hyphenated name. What are you doing? Apparently she was saved on Twitter. By a tweet.
And so
by
we
the Pied
did.
Piper.
From baseball games to military funerals, we trekked across the country with neon protest signs in hand to tell others exactly how unclean they were and exactly why they were headed for damnation.
Okay, because first of all, it's almost like she was never exposed to a street preacher or anything like that, right? Because what is it? What is a preacher just out there? He's yelling. He's just yelling out and just okay. Because in his mind, right, he's out there calling to the sheep, just the one out of the 99 that might come back, right? Just one, right? They who have ears to listen, right? The Father's voice, the Father's saving word does not come back without having influenced. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew the true? That's the true lifeline. Who knew? That which is relentlessly out there, reaching out, knocking. Will you open? Will you draw near? Do we draw near, or we relentlessly just be like, ah, I was told it was hate, so I just smash out of the world told me it was hate, so I'll just go out and smash. So first of all, right? He who is a slave to his sin who sins is a slave to his sin. Who knew sin, right? Sin, disobedience, rebellion, exactly. Believer in your own image, that you're the creator of your image, your own image, exactly. So who knew everyone just smashed? A rebel. The defier is your ruler, your archon. You have succumbed to the light, Lucifer. And this and that and this and this, but no. I was just at my church propagated hate, and I just saw how people have care in them. People, don't you see? Everyone just cares about each other.
This was the focus of our whole lives.
But who knew who knew men and women are deceived, and therefore go out and bash and smash and push the sufferings of the world? Who knew? But no. It's not that. It's just that we're all just kind and good. It's just that we're all just smashing each other somehow. Aww.
This was the only way for me to do good in a world that sits in Satan's lap. And like the rest of my 10 siblings,
Because what she's making reference to is that there is an a way, an ordinance, right? A mode of etiquette, a ritualized life. The life. What's the ritual of life, right? And either you're with it or you're not. So what's the ritual of life? Everlasting. But you're like, no, the ritual of life is death. Exactly. So who knew life has a ritual? Who knew the ritual? What is the behavior? What is the recognition? What's the mode of engagement? You have no idea. What's the premise? What's the foci? What is the intent? What is the purpose? You have no idea. You're like, oh, no, it's just about caring. Everyone, just I'll go out and care bear your way out of this one. Just open up your chest and say kumbaya. Or abracadabra, or all these other smash whispers in the dark. I just burn the bash incense and just say a bunch of bash words into the dark and say, yes, my intent is this, and this, my heart goes out to you, and this and that, and smash, and just not this and that, and then I'm bashing, now I'm a real person. All because I did all these little things. Well, no, what's going on? Life brings forth life. But this person say, nah, they just hated everyone. No, because who knew that the follower of Christ, right? The follower of or the recognize he who recognizes the saving word, right? That's his walk to discern, right? Discern in truth, not from a standpoint of good and evil, and therefore you're always going to side with good no matter what it is you do. You're like, no, I'm just doing my best. No, it doesn't care if you think you're
I
doing your
believed what I was
best.
taught.
What is it that people care about? People just care about just having their fill. Having their fill, nobody's saying anything about it, just not making a peep, nothing, just speak. See nothing, hear nothing, say nothing. Yes, that's bliss, everyone. Yes. And smash and smash. But ultimately, just she's blasting you with all this, imagery of, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. So this to her was like, wow, what a mess. She's like, wow, I was saved from all this mess, and now I'm here to save you. Wow. So you left that cult, right? You're like, wow, I didn't even know I was in a cult. Because the follower of Christ, right? He who recognizes and abides in the saving word. That's his journey, that's his path. Discerning in truth. Everybody wants that behavior, right? Of everybody wants value, worth, to be valued, to be embraced, to be accepted, to be allowed, to prosper, to have opportunity, to not be denied, and this and that and this and this. And they don't people it's just have forgotten that, wow, it couldn't be that there is such a way of ritualizing life where all the things that you say you want, you endure, right? For what is life? What's in it for life? Life, you guessed it. What's in it for life? In having bashes, just bash around and bash and make all these bash things and say, no, I left that cult for that one, and wow, this one's so much better. Or this, or that, or the other, this, or that, and that. What's going on? For this, the behavior that people are so desperately craving to just have everyone bash in, the golden rule and all this and this, right? Doesn't come, right? What's in it for life? For you to say that, oh, it's just a lot about the golden rule, everyone. No, what's going on? Life brings forth life. So are you in life, or are you out? You're the breakaway civilization smashing your way into other life planets. And it's endless, right? And so everyone is just escapism, and just getting rear-ended, just ravagely and savagely, just nonstop. But somehow the friction is just amazing, and it smells like grizzling meat on the barbecue. Okay, and so you've been seduced by the just sensory, the sensationalism of it all. Wow, and this, right? So who knew that this is sensationalism? And this red circle is a sensational, right? Giving you all the senses. All right, challenging your brain, your bash omeleted brain, right? Amazing. It's challenging it to just somehow believe itself to be a chicken. Or is it the chicken and the egg? No, no, which one is it? The chicken or the egg? Right? This and that and that and that. And not, never that, but always this. But sometimes there's an exception, and this and this and that, and nothing. So, Megan, again,
all my heart.
what are you saying?
And I pursued Westro's agenda with a special sort of zeal. In 2009,
Oh, a special zeal. What might that zeal be, Megan? Hyphenated roper name? What's going on?
in 2009, that zeal brought me to Twitter. Initially, the people I encountered on the platform were just as hostile as I expected.
Oh, so she took on Twitter. She's like, I have so much zeal, I'm just gonna go smash in the Ethernet. She's like, that's because that's where the new battle is, people. Online. Online, everyone. Wow. The truth is, I'm ashamed. You're ashamed. Everyone is ashamed and is using everyone else to point out their own shame. So we must admit we were wrong. We're in the wrong. We're doing wrong. We're workers of iniquity, all justifying it that we're just doing our best and just relentlessly being nice to people and having so-called empathy. Oh, but you turn on a dime the minute something doesn't go favorable for you. If it gets too hard or this, life's too short. Just move on and bash on. Exactly. For the bottom line is do as thou wilt. And you actually don't give a bash about yourself or others. You namely just care about immediate acceptance. How is it that you are able to live with yourself? So you'll buy anything that will just allow you to just have some cassette playing over and over, some repetitive bash into you, just saying to you, you are amazing. You are just bash expanding love. You are the everlasting light and love and bashhood. And you will come and smash and enlighten everybody's third eye and smash the world and make it your utopia of bliss. For that was the whole purpose of reincarnation, from the little tiny ant all the way to smashhood. Wow. You couldn't wait for that to be true. You couldn't wait. You're like, yes, I call it into manifestation. This and that and this and that. Wow. All while still just abusing life as everyone else is. Wow. Abusing life for your own bash creation of your own bash image. Of what it is for you to fantasize about what it is. Wow. Because couldn't be that there's nothing new under the sun. Only your interpretation of what you think you're pushing relentlessly day in, day out, which in fact is Groundhog Day. But that's your excuse to just relentlessly self better and try again. But don't give up. Don't give up. And don't think it's pointless, because you never know when it'll just change for the better on its own. So was it really your influence, or was it just life bringing forth what it always does? Life. Well, who knew? No, no, it couldn't be. No. So what is it that we're doing? Exactly. Deceiving ourselves and just bashing people, just smashing each other in our sandbox. We're throwing sand in our eyes. We're playing dirty. We're throwing low punches, under the belt, but we know it's illegal. And we're going bash and getting throws and this and that and dodging, but somehow huffing and puffing and stretching and also boasting. But who knew you've been punched, drunk, knocked out for days now? You're forgotten to the world. The world has just moved on in its own punch drunkenness, and now you're just some punch. You're that clown that you punch, and it's just, it's a blow up clown, and you punch it, and then it comes back up. You're that guy. You're that guy bash effigy of some bash pillar that you just smash, and then it just erects itself again. Well, who knew? So why is it that you have become the fool, become the clown that you just bash, and then it just bashes back, and it smashes you, and it mocks you, and it makes you hit it harder. It makes you want to go out there and smash harder. And you'll say, of course, we need the clown. We need the clown to better us as a humanity, and this and this and that. No. No. The only purpose of a fool or a clown is just to perpetuate. Right? It's an outlet to excuse the vileness and the shallowness and the voidness and the bankruptcy of our engagement. We have become engaged to the false bride. Right? A deceiver, a manipulator. We have all fallen for the manipulator. And and doing everything we can to protect them and try and justify that as just, well, it's just so above us that we're just trying to relentlessly reach our higher selves by just sitting down and smashing home runs in the ether of thoughts and just astral planing with all your favorite characters of the 12 and this and that and this 13, and then you can get 14 and then all the way to probably 33. Who knew? And all this and smash, and they're like, exactly, it's all just masonry and passions, this. Well, exactly, building blocks, the wall, right? Let it be. Let what be? Let light be, right? They want this, the murmurs of the light, to shimmer you and dazzle you into just desolation.
They were the digital version of the screaming hordes I'd been seeing at protests since I was a kid.
Oh,
but
wow.
In the midst of that digital brawl, a strange pattern developed. Someone would arrive at my profile with the usual rage and...
So this person, right, she's speaking as though she was this zealous, young person just out there smashing, tearing, and people making people turn to God and this and this and this, or recognizing that they're doing evil and this and that and this and that, or blah blah blah, right? So she was a zealous, her words, right? She was just the overachiever smashing, and now she's on Twitter. Wow. Okay. So, first of all, in her belief, right? In her belief, she must have believed, right? Or she just some bash, nothing, right? That's just somehow, we must go out there and just shame people. Okay. Right? Because people aren't feeling shame already, right? Oh, you are wrong. People are already, there's this embedded shame. Who knew? And everybody tries to just embellish it and just try to overcome it somehow. Shame, shame. And they're like, no, there's no shame. Just, I was born this way. Yeah, I was born this way. And smash and smash and smash. And this and this and this and that and that and that and this and that. Right? And just hold my hand while I abuse it with the other because I was born this way. Just tolerate and accept it. Right? This and that. You were born this way. What does that even mean? You were born this way. Wow, born what? You don't even know. What is this way? What is this way? And they're like, oh, just my self-confident way. No. What is going on? What is self-confidence? What does even that mean? Self-confident. Confidence in self. So everybody's out there having confidence in self, and somehow their self is just nothing because that's what they believe. They believe that they're just a speck of nothing. So somehow they're nothing, but then they have some sort of value embedded, some sort of worth, that they're like, whoa, don't deny my humanity. I value. I am significant. I know I am. And this, but yet they believe that they're smashed nothing, and it's just chaotic accident upon a no order. But somehow we humans have created just some sort of utopia with man's law and this and smash and nothing. Right? Somehow we've just overachieved ourselves to somehow half perfection. because we're fundamentally imperfect. So we're just therefore half perfect, and this and this. So we're the half smash ape that evolved from bash something in the slime, primordial mud slime of slimes, but it was hopefully radioactive. So that's why it allowed for multiples of genetic mutations and X-Men and X and X and X and X X X X X X X all the way to the bash half ape that now makes money, making bash money, smashing other apes. Wow. Okay, amazing. And somehow that's just so glorious. And we're like, yes, that is man. We're just fundamentally flawed. But then that doesn't mean we shouldn't strive to be better and just to be in our higher selves and not this and that and wow. No. Who knew you have knowledge of good and evil? Who knew you see the knowledge of good and evil? You are not the synthesis though. It is not for you to play God. No. You open your eye to something that was not meant for you to synthesize. And just because you see it in your disobedience, now is ours to bear the exposure. So, what is the exposure? Well, it's what we call history, but not what you think when you read in books. No, the history of the knowledge of good and evil. Who knew? But no, nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. No. But no, it's just man's just bored and killed and murdered forever. Yeah, that's what it was. And this, and that, and just evolution, smash, smash, smash. Some caveman wanted this wife, and he just smashes some other smash, and so it's just be killed or killed. Kill or be killed. Come on, go out there and kill. So everybody's just living in relentless fear. So exactly, nothing has ever changed, so why should it now? And you're like, well, because it's the consciousness, man, all the planets are aligned, and now we're just receiving relentless downloads. Right. Right. It couldn't be that life, right? The purpose, creation has a resolve, right? It couldn't be. No. It has to be that you're making it happen by sitting down and vibrating and hitting some gong or this or that or playing some tape over and over and just smashing. What's going on? What is going on? No. No change is brought on by man. No. It is for man to endure the resolve of creation, that which is set forth for man to be revealed to man in his ways. So which ways is it of man? Is it a man's way to be righteous, or is it a man's way to be wretched, evil, lured by by just manipulation? What is there to manipulate? What is there to gain? If we haven't already gained all in life, wow, we're living in what we have as what we call short period of time in life. What are we actually embracing? What are we crying out loud? Exactly. We're just crying out loud our own victimization and our own wishes of how things were better and smash and smash and smash. Exactly. Just beggars. Deniers and hypocrites we have become. All abusers and users, right, of others to just relieve that shame that we fundamentally feel inside. And we recognize that we are in due to our disobedience, our rebellious way, attitude, projection, optics on the world, and how we're here supposedly to make justice and this, but you're like, no, it doesn't mean to go out and be the vigilante. No, it means just compassion and tolerance and greatest embrace for your mankind, fellow brother and sister, and smash, 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 smash. All while, the defilement still continues in the open. Wow. And of course, people won't admit it. They'll fight to the death to defend that which smashes them and deny that which actually opens his arms and reaches out and says, he who has the ear to listen, draw near. Drink from the waters of life. Who knew? It is free if it's available. But you must seek the kingdom of God, right? It's what to you is just the world. I'm gonna go smash and try to get as many smashes and things and experiences as I can. Right. Exactly. The ways of the world, right? It's a theme park, right? Pleasure Island. Who knew? But you're like, no, that's not real life. Real life is the tough times and this and this and all right. So now you reduce yourself to some grimy bash peon that just doesn't know better from life. No, it's just bitterment. You become bitter and just toxic in your own blood because you don't recognize. Right? We don't. What is it that we're denying? Oh, no! I just want to suffer and die. Leave me alone, and this and that and this and nobody loves me. God hates me, so I hate him back, and this and that. No. Who knew the love of God is relentless and unconditional, and His saving word delineates the resolve and patience for the true resolve, the just resolve of the Father, in accordance to that which was the modes of engagement in His creation. Right? So, what is this person talking about? She's talking about, oh, well, I was misled, and now it finally was coming out.
Scorn, I would respond.
Right? Because who knew that Christ Jesus didn't start religion, right? In fact, he called religion out and said, you have fallen away. You have forgotten and used the doctrine for your own manipulation, for your own gain. Distorting, right? The word, the saving word, for fleshly gain. Optics. Praise, this and that, right? Bash, nothing, exactly. But no, he has an ear. Yes, let him hear.
Respond with a custom mix of Bible verses, pop culture references, and smiley faces. They would be understandably confused and caught off guard, but then a conversation would ensue. And it was civil, full of genuine curiosity on both sides. How had the other come to such outrageous conclusions
On
about the
both
world?
sides, right. I'm sure it helps that this person is, she would consider herself attractive. So in her profile, they probably had a photo of themselves and bash. So even if they said something, inflammatory, people would respond probably in a nasty way or this, but they would be like, what's this person saying? Oh, this, can I get your number and this and that? Let's go on a date. Oh, you live in Korea? Oh well, too bad. Nice knowing you. So again, she's on the internet, the Ethernet, the bash, nothing, right? Somehow it's communicating. Whoa, smash, 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 smash. Smiley face. Well, that throws people off, right? Confusing. Well, no. What's confusing is what you're doing right now. Look.
World. Sometimes the conversation even bled into real life. People I'd sparred with on Twitter would come out to the picket line to see me when I protested in their city.
Oh, who would do that? Who would do that? They're like, oh, our conversations got kind of good and kind of flirty and kind of awesome, and guys came to see me at all the different cities that I was in protesting, but they'd come and say, hey, you're kind of sassy. I like your spunk and this and that and this. Would you like some smash in you and smash around? And this person's like, yeah, well, good luck, buddy. You're in sin and smash and smash and smash. And the guy's like, oh, she's a tough one. I'll come back later and this and that and smash and smash and smash. Wow, this person met so many people. Wow, what's going on? Because if this was a if this was a man, I mean, if and he stood here and it's like, wow, I've met so many people online and they wanted to come and see me at protests. Because people that have opposing opinions, right? Just are dying to go see somebody and spend time with them, and they know that they don't agree, and they probably wouldn't have anything to comment about because that's how they met. They met through knowing, that they disagree. So there's something else going on here. Exactly. Attraction, flirting, this and the other. So what's this person talking about?
A man named David was one such person. He ran a
Oh,
blog called Julicious, and after several months of heated but friendly arguments online, he came out to see me at a picket in New Orleans. He brought me a Middle Eastern dessert from Jerusalem, where he lives, and I brought him.
oh, exactly. Who does that? That guy who was obviously interested in this person. Hmm. Okay. So this person's gonna misinterpret that and say, "Wow, everybody's just so kind on Twitter. Even look at all the picket. One of such person was this David person. Wow. Okay." Or she'll probably say, "Oh, he was gay. So he was just a really nice gay guy, and he just brought me amazing. Now he's just my best friend." Wow, 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 wow.
Him kosher chocolate and held a God hates Jews sign. There was no confusion about our positions, but the line between friend and foe was becoming blurred. We'd started to see each other as human beings, and it changed the way we spoke to one another. It took time, but eventually these conversations planted.
Right. Because it couldn't be that you both knew you were human beings at first, and you both knew that there was an attraction, and this whole bash story that you're saying, it just took, the back burner. It was the excuse to meet up. Whatever. Just take it for face value for what this person is saying. Okay. So you met this random person on Twitter, and just that this disagreements turned into a friendship. Wow. Who knew you could meet friends online, especially the ones that you disagree with at first. But if you have a healthy discussion, you'll become friends, just like I did. Right. Who knew wow, this person is, what person, where does this person live? Does this person live on Earth or some other bash fantasy planet where just people online that disagree are just friends forever? Wow. Not to
Seeds
mention in real life, right? Our friends, people that disagree with each other relentlessly. I would say I mean, if you love somebody, of course you might disagree with them, once in a while or this, or say, hey, based on what you told me that this was, or whatever, this is, it turned out this, or whatever, what are you doing, or this, well, have you thought of that? But no, and this and that, and this and the other. But no, this person's like, oh no, everybody's just like that. Everybody's just amazing, amazing, amazing. And only my church was bashed. Wow.
of doubt in me. My friends on Twitter took the time to understand Westboro's doctrines, and in doing so, they were able to find inconsistencies I'd missed my entire life. Why did we advocate the death penalty?
Oh, right. So rehab for Baptist churches or whatever, right? They're like, wow, they were showing me what I didn't see for 20 years. Who knew? That sounds like Satan to me. Because first of all, I'm not saying that I am for or bash this church or anything like that, but exactly, Christ Jesus never started religion, never started bash denominations or bash this. No, nothing. Believe in the saving word, right? That's it. Follow in ordinance of what is said, of what the order is. Who knew? Who knew that there's an order? No, no, no. It has to be just some passionate accident that it's up to us to decide what it is, which way it's gonna go, and this and this and that. Wow, what a shame. What a shame. Everybody's like, no, I'm the dictator of my destiny. Nobody tells me what to do. Wow, exactly. Do as I will. Doctrine of Satan.
For gays when Jesus said, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone"? How could we claim to love our neighbor while at the same time praying for God to destroy them? The truth is that the care.
Fine. These people are praying for them to die. Wow. Because the saving word actually says, yes, love your neighbor as yourself, right? What are you if not a person walking in righteousness, worthy of life everlasting? But you deny it. So exactly. Why is it not that we shouldn't get what we ask for and what we engage with and what we're actually bringing forth and accepting and embracing in our lives? Is that not just? And you call that the power of attraction and this and that and this. And you believe in that, but no, you won't believe in God. Exactly. Exactly. And you won't believe in the saving word, which is the only way. to God. Who knew?
Shown to me by these strangers on the internet was itself a contradiction. It was growing evidence that people on the other side were not the demons I'd been led to believe.
Oh, amazing. So they were homosexuals, or what this person would say, oh, they deserve death and this and that and this, so I was wrong. And this, they showed me so much greater compassion than my own group, and this and this and that, so I was being double slapped. So immediately, because she saw kindness in the world and that she thought was filled with hate and bash that they should die, immediately she's like, wow, everything I believed is wrong. And this and this and that. Wow. Ye of little faith. That means she had zero faith to begin with. Zero. Right? She had there was no wisdom in the saving word. Because she probably never read the Bible. She was just probably just told what to do and hold a sign when she was 5, like she said she did. She didn't give a damn. She was just, became something she did every week and bash and this and that. But then she became zealous, right? Because of the pride of just being right. She felt righteous, right? But righteous of what? Because immediately the ways of the world show her a little, sympathy and embrace and this. They're like, yeah, come with us, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she's like, whoa, everything I believe was wrong.
These
Whoa.
realizations were life altering.
Exactly. They bashed her and left her punch drunk with one eye half open like this. Exactly. Because what is she actually saying? She's like, yep, nope, there's no such thing as life everlasting. It's just life as we dictate it to be, and we're the rudder, and we're just dictating somehow where it's going to go, and somehow it's just up to us to just nurse and suckle each other and cuddle puddle and just soothe ourselves while we just get gassed. Amazing. Amazing.
Once I saw that we were not the ultimate arbiters of divine truth, but flawed human beings, I couldn't pretend otherwise. I couldn't justify our
The
actions.
arbiters. You're no arbiter of truth. Right? I mean, this person clearly knows. But what is this person talking about? She's like, well, for 20 years, I was some bash this church, right? So we need to believe that this person knows and studied, right? And knew the word of God, the saving word. And all of a sudden, she went on Twitter and just found out that the word of God was just wrong. Because she went to visit somebody and just, oh, they showed me that, oh, I was so inconsistent. I was believing inconsistencies. Oh, wow. So she traded whatever inconsistencies were pointed out to her, which, of course, are probably just like, WWF wrestling. It's fake, but it comes with the illusion that it's real, right? They're like, wow, look at this inconsistency here. And the bash gets pile drived. And you're like, whoa, no. So devastation in this, but it's fake. It's fake. It's Satan pointing out to you that, wow, doubt yourself, doubt life. Yes, come to me. But what do you get in return? Nothing. All you get is just the world's embrace, which this person desperately wanted, right? She was like, I was just us against them, so now I joined them and just are now telling you about what I used to be, meaning us. I was once us, but now I'm you, and now I'm them. So she's just bash, shape shifting. You can do it too.
Especially our cruel practice of protesting funerals and celebrating human tragedy. These shifts in my perspective contributed to a larger erosion of trust in my church,
Because
and
where
eventually
in the
it made it
where in
impossible
the
for me to stay.
scripture does it go tell you to go protest at funerals of? Did she say at funerals of homosexuals or this or that or the other? Who? I mean, because obviously, nowhere does it say that, right? What is going on? But somehow, what she represents in this TED talk is like, oh, everybody who believes in Christ Jesus, in the saving word, yeah, it's this person. It's this person, and obviously they're bashed, brainwashed, and they're part of a cult. They're part of a cult, people. They're part of a cult that just want people to die relentlessly. Wow. No, it couldn't be that. Wow, followers of the saving word want as much life to live. Wow. To live forever. Not to live for the moment. To live forever with our Father. Yes. But no, it had to be, no, just live for now and just hold my hand while I pipe my whistle and just lead you off the cliff to our plummeting, summiting death of just nothing. Don't worry. That impact will just obliterate your body in a second. You won't feel a thing. And then it's just blackness and darkness forever. Isn't that what you want? You just want to forget everything, right? And then just be Bash Stardust. Yay! Amazing. So amazing. This is what this person is saying. And she's hiding behind faces and hiding behind names. All while murmuring. Murmuring you to just somehow interpret the saving word as somehow the lie. Whoa.
In spite of overwhelming grief and terror, I left Westboro in 2012. In those days just after I left, the instinct to hide was almost paralyzing. I wanted to hide from the judgment of my family, who I knew would never speak to me again, people whose thoughts and opinions had meant everything to me. And I wanted to hide from the world I'd rejected for so long, people who had no reason at all to give me a second chance after a lifetime of antagonism. And yet,
Shame, right?
unbelievably,
You feel
they did.
shame.
The world had access to my past because it was all over the internet, thousands of tweets and hundreds of interviews, everything from local TV news to the Howard Stern show. But so many
Boasting.
embraced me with open arms anyway.
She was like boasting. She was like, I was all over the place. I was plastered as some poster child for the haters, right? That called themselves Christians and this and that. Wow, amazing. And I was just so ashamed because now I went to the world after making them feel ashamed. And now I felt the shame I dished out. And people were like, huh, karma. Karma, blah, 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 and this, and that, right? Wow, smashed. Nothing. Because who knew that the same shame that she felt while in the other group is the shame that now she feels in another group, apparently. But in the other group, that shame that she felt, she just used others to feel somehow superior. Because nothing of what she's saying or talking about suggests that she had any indication of or notion of what the saving word is, what the wisdom within the saving word is, right? For the behavior of that is sought by everyone in the ways of the world, they want it at no cost, at no sacrifice, meaning they want to have their cake and eat it too. Who knew? But no, this person apparently had just that.
I wrote an apology for the harm I'd caused, but I also knew that an apology could never undo any of it. All I could do was try to build a new life and find a way somehow to repair some of the damage. People had every reason to doubt my sincerity, but
Okay,
most of them
first
didn't.
of all, what damage could this person repair? None. Zero. Zero. She's relentlessly living life and just feeling bad for herself and sorry for herself of like, nobody's gonna like me. Wow. Who knew everybody in this room feels that way? And they all shapeshift and put on masks and bash, take on characters and say blah blah blah, just so that they can feel like they are embraced. Or there's bashes that'll be like, I don't give a damn what anyone cares about me, blah blah blah. But both are doers of that will. Who knew? Just like this person standing on stage. Ye of little faith. Whatever faith she had in zeal, whatever zealous she was, right? Was pride. That was it. Pride. Pride. And somehow she lost that pride when she was humbled. Sadly enough, by the world. Well, the world humbled her. So that says a lot about what is taught at this Batch church where she says she's from, right? Hmm. Who knew there's relentless churches misleading people out there relentlessly? And all religions of the world are bashed. Who knew? For there's only one true living God, and the saving word, his saving word, who knew? That revealed it to man in the flesh. what it is to overcome death. Who knew? What it is to be truly not only God of the living, but also God of death. Meaning, death is subject, is ridden, has been defeated. For there's only one true authority, one lawmaker. Yes. Yes. But to this person, no, all there is just basic goodness.
And given my history, it was more than I could have hoped for. Forgiveness and the benefit of the doubt. It still amazes me. I spent my first year
Why is this person
away
just
from
so
home.
like, and this, and that, and this, and this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and this, and that. Oh, it's just, might as well just put on a fan, some bash, industrial sized fan, because that's what is being just delivered by this person. What is going on?
Home, adrift with my younger sister, who had chosen to leave with me. We walked into an abyss, but we were shocked to find light and a way forward in the same communities we targeted for so long. David, my Jewlicious friend from Twitter, invited us to spend time among a Jewish community in Los Angeles.
Wow, who knew?
We slept on couches in the home of a Hasidic rabbi and his wife and their 4 kids. The same rabbi that I'd protested 3 years earlier.
The Hasidic rabbi who knew. The Hasidic rabbi took them in and said, listen, you left Christianity, come to Judaism. It's better. It's the original, blah, blah, blah. It's Orthodox. It's the truth. And it's the Kabbalah of the smash, believe in the light. And all the smash little symbols of smash and smash and smash. Who knew? And the bash numbers and the bash numerology. Who knew? Oh, amazing. Right? But of course, she's like, no. I saw the light in the darkness. I saw the light in the abyss, people. I went into the abyss and I saw the light. Wow. For the saving word tells you, right, that he who speaketh and proclaim the name of Christ Jesus as a saving word, right, is going to be hated and denied by the world. So now she's like, wow, now the world embraced me, even despite me denying my faith and all my years of judgment and this and that. And I was wrong, people. I'm sorry. Will you embrace me now? And everybody's just like, oh, okay, finally. Come with us. Come with us. Another one bites the dust. Come with us. Another one bites the dust. Come with us. Wow.
A sign that said, your rabbi is a whore. We spent long hours talking about theology and Judaism and life while we washed dishes in their kosher kitchen and chopped vegetables for dinner. They treated us like family. They held nothing against us. And again, I was astonished.
Exactly. So who knew people could have what you're describing? Those engagements, those conversations, and you nailed it, about theology, about God. Right? Instead, we're picketing fences and protests and smash and hitting pots and pans and begging. Because who knew that it does come to what is it that we're actually engaging in and ritualizing day in, day out. What is in our forehead? What's in our hearts day in, day out? To use just that meeting tomorrow and that paper and no, this and that, no. Stressed out, bash, need to sit down, get hemorrhoids and bash with Buddha. And this and this, and you're like, okay, now I feel better. Go out and just binaural beats, you bash into your brain and bash, okay, now I feel better. And then you're out there and smash and bash, now the kids are yelling, Dad, no, leave me alone, smash, go down to your bash man cave and just smash one out and just smash back up and say, okay, I'm going. And then you bash and smash and smash and smash and smash and smash. Exactly. What's going on? Just taking it for granted, expecting all of it to be there when you wake up your eyes in the morning. So what's going on? No, it's just little tiny atoms just doing what they do best. And it's all in the quantum. It's all in the quantum bash and smashes of multiplications and flexes and chess and bounces. Smashed. But this person, so brilliant, so brilliant.
That period was full of turmoil, but one part I've returned to often is a surprising realization I had during that time. That it was a relief and a privilege to let go of the harsh judgments that instinctively ran through my mind about nearly every person I saw. I realized that now...
What a shame. So she's saying that, whoa, I didn't know what it was to not judge. Brainwashed. Who knew everybody judges you, Bash? Who knew everybody has discernment, right? Who knew everybody can see the knowledge of good and evil in the ways of the world that consumeth you through it, if you believe it. And to where its promise of everlasting life is but an empty promise, and its darkness and blackness forever.
I needed to learn. I needed to listen. This has been at the front of my mind lately because
So
I
she
can't help
paid
but see in
attention
our
to the
public
murmurs.
discourse so many
Wow.
of the same destructive impulses that ruled my former church. We celebrate tolerance and diversity more than at any other time in memory, and still we grow more and more divided.
Right, and
We
that's
want
not
good
the church's fault, you Bash. That's the belief and do as thou wilt. For even though the churches are preaching some Bash, just distorted doctrine, just everything to just keep people docile and Bash sedated, right? But you're like, no, we're in the most tolerant epoch of our times. Wow, wow, wow. But we're most divided. Exactly, because everyone's just pulling, right? They're all pulling in separate ways. Bash, 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 doing what they want. Somehow they think they're going to unite and be just one front. And the power of the people, wow, undefeated, right? Well, no, not if everybody's going their own Bash way. Wow, exactly. People think they know what, good is. But who knew that everybody believes in relative truth and this and that and goodness and relative, degrees of truth and degrees of good and degrees of bad, and just it's all gray, people. It's all gray. I don't know. There's no white or black. It's no absolute. No, it's just gray, man. It's just all gray matter in our Bash minds. So it's just like Neo in the Matrix. You just got to go and ask for guns. Ask for lots of guns and this and this and that and smash. You have to smash the Bash Agent Smith. Wow. Sad. This person's calling out to you saying, you have to go out, smash Agent Smith, people, because they're corrupt and they're just telling you to hate everyone. Ugh.
things: justice, equality, freedom, dignity, prosperity. But the path we've chosen looks so much like the one I walked away from 4 years ago. We've
Right, so this
broken the world
person's
into
associating the ways of the world with her Bash fallen doctrine church. Right? They're not speaking the word of God, teaching Bash self-gain and using the word of God as a mask. Right? Sheep's clothing.
us and them, only emerging from our bunkers long enough to lob rhetorical grenades at the other camp.
Oh, laboratory
We write off
grenade.
half the country as out-of-touch liberal elites or racist, misogynist bullies. No nuance, no complexity, no humanity. Even when someone does call for empathy and understanding for the other side, the conversation nearly always devolves into a debate about who deserves more empathy. And just as I learned to do,
Exactly.
we
So
routinely
victim. So you live in a world of victimhood, which is necessary to put yourself forward, because what is used is to sell them self-betterment.
refuse to acknowledge the flaws in our positions or the merits in our opponents.
But all the while,
Comprom-
you're the relentless abuser. Always, you're like, oh, I know I'd smashed. I know I fell off the wagon again, but I can. I just need a support system and just go and gravitate to those who have the same values as you and this and that and smash and smash and smash. And they can be infinite. And yes, we're all going to the future, but they can be infinite ways to live. But we're also somehow going to the same place. So just be respectful and mindful and just bash, bash, bash. Oh. And then everybody scratches their head and sees, why do we suffer? Well, because everybody's out there believing in the doctrine of do's your will. Because there's no such thing as a higher, what? The highest authority. One true living lawmaker, giver. The Creator. And His saving word. That if you do not believe in the saving word, how else could you exactly come from and be in and go into the life He has given you? No. So then you accept your perishable bash hamburger flesh, shell, and you're just gonna bash and just hope for the best. Amazing. Yes. That is your choice.
Compromise is anathema. We even target people on our own side when they dare to question the party line.
Meaning herself.
This path has brought us cruel sniping, deepening polarization, and even outbreaks of violence.
Yes,
I
everybody's
remember
turned
this
on
path.
each other.
It will not take us where we want to go.
Satan has turned on himself, and
What
now
gives me hope is that we can do something about this.
He still wants you to make you believe that he can win, even though it's like already it's began to eat itself alive.
The news is that it's simple, and the bad news is that it's hard. We have to talk and listen to people we disagree with. It's hard because we often can't fathom how the other side came to their positions. It's hard because righteous indignation, that sense of certainty that ours is the right side, is so seductive. It's hard because it means extending empathy
because this person now believes in relative truth
and compassion to people who show us hostility and contempt. The impulse to respond in kind is so tempting, but that isn't who we want to be. We can resist, and I will always be inspired to do so by those people I encountered on Twitter.
Wow.
Apparent enemies who became my beloved friends. And in the case of one particularly understanding and generous guy, my husband. There was nothing special about the way...
So the generous guy meaning David, who was just somehow was there. So David saved her. Aw. And all the other Twitter friends. Yay.
I responded to him. What was special was their approach.
No, it wasn't.
I thought about it a lot over the past few years, and I found 4 things they did differently that made real conversation possible. These 4 steps were small but powerful, and I do everything I can to employ them in difficult conversations today. The first is, don't assume bad intent. My friends on Twitter realized that even when my words were aggressive and offensive, I sincerely believed I was doing the right thing. Assuming ill motives almost instantly cuts us off from...
So if somebody's saying, I'm going to kill you, don't assume they're going to kill you. Just be like, hey, I care about you. Have you ever tried relaxation therapy? And have you ever tried all these other bash incenses and just blinding therapies where you just bash your eyes with some sterile needles and then just blast your bash head with a bat that's made out of wood from the Himalayas? What is this person talking about?
Truly understanding why someone does and believes as they do. We forget that they're a human being with a lifetime of experience that shaped their mind, and we get stuck on that first wave of anger, and the conversation has a very hard time ever moving beyond it. But when we assume good or neutral intent...
Why can't it be that a hypocrite never likes to be, pointed out? Exactly. So this person is just saying, that's making you believe that everyone's just the same. And that nobody's a hypocrite. And that's why if you say something and somebody gets offended, it's because you have angered them. Because what you're saying is so ridiculous. But no, all you have to just do is relax, breathe, and say, let me say why you said those things that angered me for some reason. I don't know why, but I got angry. But I'm going to look beyond that anger and say, I don't assume bad intent coming from you. What is this person saying? So believe the old man that comes in and says, want some candy? And you're like, okay, I won't assume bad intent. I assume you want to engage in just amazing conversation in your dark van. Amazing.
We give our minds a much stronger framework for dialogue. The second is ask questions.
This is Satan
When we
speaking.
engage people across ideological divides, asking questions helps us map the disconnect between our differing points of view. That's important because we can't present effective arguments if we don't understand where the other side is actually coming from, and because it gives them an opportunity to point out...
So all just manipulation, right? All manipulation, right? Jesus spoke in parables, right? Why? Because he said he could speak and tell you, but you will still not listen, and this and this and that, and you'll still not see. So what is it the way? Everybody can understand. Everybody understands. This person just wants to make you believe that you can somehow manipulate something into your way and just making people feel comfortable and validated because you're asking questions. So that means that somehow you're interested in them.
Now flaws in our positions. But asking questions serves another purpose. It signals to someone that they're being heard.
Oh, there she
When my friends on Twitter stopped accusing and started asking questions, I almost automatically mirrored them. Their questions gave me room to speak, but they also gave me permission to ask them questions and to truly hear their responses.
So if somebody asks you a question, that gives you permission to ask them a question. That's how it works, people. I'm teaching you etiquette. She's like, okay, I'm smashing you with knowledge here, people. Wow. Who knew that? Let's just say, right? I'm doing something that I'm ashamed of, or I know I shouldn't, or I should change, or whatever. And then somebody points that out to me. What happens? I'm going to get mad at that person and say, who are you to judge? Do you even know me and this and that, right? You would, exactly. It doesn't mean that the person is wrong or this, that the oh blah 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 blah, or that the other person should listen to you. But what is it? No, right? Let that anger just wow, that's just the fruit, right? The fruit is what the proof is, right? Of what one worketh, right? What laboreth is what one reaps, right? So what's going on? What are we working? What's on our foreheads and in our hearts relentlessly? What are we working? What are we at work? When we are at work, are we sitting at a desk and like, that's my job? No. What is it? What do we see? What are we overcoming? Do we recognize and humble ourselves and submit to the saving word? Or are we out there just still smashing in our own image and saying, hey guys, why don't we just go out and hold hands and just don't assume bad intent, and now just make sure you
It
relentlessly
fundamentally changed the dynamic of our conversations.
ask questions
The third is stay calm.
and stay calm.
This takes practice and patience, but it's powerful.
Oh, but look at her. She's
At
just
Westboro,
so
I learned not to
calm.
care how my manner of speaking affected others.
Monotone.
I thought my rightness justified my rudeness. Harsh tones, raised voices, insults, interruptions. But that strategy is ultimately counterproductive. Dialing up the volume and the snark is natural in stressful situations, but it tends to bring the conversation to an
So who knew? Instead of beating them, she joined them. That's the bottom line. She's like, listen, guys, I was in this church and I thought I could beat them, but listen, I realized I can't beat them, so might as well join them. All right, so just join the giant, smash everything in the way, and just smash. Call it the New Age and call it the Enlightenment movement, and how we're just so smashed. And all we need is logic and reason with a little bit sprinkle fairy dust of empathy. Because you can't be an empath, but there's some of us that are out there just smashing and keeping things in line. So this bash interrupted and just smashed this end of it. So again, expecting this person expecting you to just smash, just ask questions. Smash.
factory, explosive end. When my husband was still just an anonymous Twitter acquaintance, our discussions frequently became hard and pointed, but he always refused to escalate. Instead, he would change the subject. He would tell a joke or recommend a book.
Oh, exactly. Distraction, remember here, and then come back to the abuse and bash.
Or gently excuse himself from the conversation. We knew the discussion wasn't over, just paused for a time to bring us back to an even keel. People often...
So who tweets, right? You just pause that tweets and come back to it, and you just that relationship is in the ether, and just all can relentlessly come back to it. Wow.
Lament that digital communication makes us less civil, but this is one advantage that online conversations have over in-person ones. We have a buffer of time and space between us and the people whose ideas we find so frustrating.
Well, because it's just text and you don't know if it's sarcastic or is it a joke, blah blah blah, and then emojis. Oh, I don't know. No, that's the buffer.
We can use that buffer. Instead of lashing out, we can pause, breathe, change the subject, or walk away, and then come back to it when we're ready.
And then, so don't unleash the fury because you're being pointed out as a hypocrite. So I know that triggers you and offends you, but don't be offended. Just come back to it when you have huffed and puffed and beat up some things, and just come back.
And finally, make the argument.
Stay calm. Stay calm, right? Stay calm. Come back. Stay calm, people. Don't worry. It's okay. Because first, I didn't assume bad intent, and I went into the van, and then I asked questions. And now it's just, blah, argument, and just, now I stay calm. And now I make the argument of why sodomy should not take place. And hopefully, the other person will listen. What is going on? Because ultimately, what the argument meaning, do as thou wilt. It's like, come on. It's all about just respect. They're like, wow, I don't disrespect you. I took you into my home, and then I made you my wife.
This might seem obvious, but one side effect of having strong beliefs is that we sometimes assume that the value of our position is or should be obvious and self-evident, that we shouldn't have to defend our positions because they're so clearly right and good, that if someone doesn't get it, it's their problem, that it's not my job to educate them. But if it were that simple...
So number one, first giving your opinions value. So everybody's out there searching for the unconditional love of the Father, but then say, no, it doesn't exist, and you're like, I'm just going to create it for myself. And you give yourself value, right? But deny yourself. You say no, I'm just stardust, I'm nothing. But you still give yourself value. You're like, that's the beauty of humanity. It's compassion, empathy, that we just evolved and just smashed into ourselves, even though we were killing or be killed. So somehow we just care for just our tribe and this, but somehow we boast in the notion of humanity and this and this and that. So ultimately we're selfish, but then we're overly just altruistic as well. And this and this and this, and it's just favorable for our species, and that's why we're the conqueror of nature. And this and this and that and this, right? But you don't deny that you have sight of the knowledge of good and evil, but you're not the synthesis. No, you're not. You're here to seek refuge in truth, in the saving word, the only way to the Father, who hath created life, the true promise, life everlasting for you. But no, you deny it and say, no, it's just nothing, and I'm just smashing, and it's just nothing when I die, or I hopefully reincarnate into something amazing.
Simple. We would all see things the same way. As kind as my friends on Twitter were, if they hadn't actually made their arguments, it would have been so much harder for me to see the world in a different way. We are all...
For who knew it's for a man to live once and die? But in death, what is it? Death, the saving word showed, revealed to man that death is defeated. The worship of death is in vain. God loved us so that he had revealed that to man in the flesh, and what that means. But no, you say, no, he was just some bash that lived. He was just like other bashes that had little nice things to say, and somehow we believe it, but somehow it's just a myth, and just we're still defiled. We're just so imperfect. We just couldn't get it right. We just smashed, and that's why I'm calling out to you. Just say, hey, guys, I left them, who I identified as us once, and now I'm joined you, and now I'm part of us. This us now. So I'm still, it's them against us, but now I'm saying, hey, we can have a discourse with respect, and just refraining from lashing out and fury, and just unleashing my fury towards you. That's my right, because who knew the world will smash you and sell you self-betterment as the way out. The ways of the world smashes you, meaning abuse. Promoters of abuse of yourself and others, all for your gain. For what is it? Life. What's in it for life? Nothing. Life brings forth life. Who knew? The Creator hath created life. Who knew? But no, to you it's just some accident that just somehow you're in control of now. You're the boss thing. We're just riding the horse. You're the You're the jockey. But somehow you didn't know you were jockey before. You thought you were the carriage, and now you're building the carriage as you're jockeying, and this and that, and now you're playing polo, and no, now you're in a fox hunt. No, what's going on? Smashed.
A product of our upbringing, and our beliefs reflect our experiences. We can't expect others to spontaneously change their own minds. If we want change, we have to make the case for it.
So what does make the case for it, right? Because it couldn't be live as an example. No, it couldn't be that. No. Because everybody just wants behavior first and then example. Or just examples. Relentless examples. Or just arguments, blah, 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 blah. But make their argument. They want arguments. Give me hypothetical situations. Come on. Give me anecdotal. I need relentless anecdotal. But then, when I say it's time to change, I'm going to demand facts and facts and facts and facts and deny my anecdotal experience. Wow, what a shame. What a shame. So everybody's denying their life for just in exchange for some bosh things that are told you that it is your living. Amazing.
My friends on Twitter didn't abandon their beliefs or their principles, only their scorn. They channeled their infinitely justifiable offense and came to me with pointed questions tempered with kindness and humor. They approached me as a human being, and that was more transformative than 2 full decades of outrage, disdain, and violence. I know that some might not have the time or the energy or the patience for...
Right, so who knew it's right, love your neighbor as yourself. So what is it in yourself that you give value in? Worth, right? The only worth is that we are creations of the Creator in His image. What are we in servitude of, if only the Father's gain, not our gain. What is it to gain for the Father's favor? Ordinance of life. In obedience to the saving word. The saving word of creation. Who knew the saving word that walked in flesh in for man? But no, you have little faith. This person just abandoned ship whenever it just 20 years was enough. I was zealous for 20 years and now I'm just going to say, no, I was wrong. But then I went to the bash people that I said were wrong and wow, they just received me with so much love. So therefore, it showed me twice how much of a hypocrite I was. And this. So lesson upon relentless lesson. And wow, she couldn't wait to go through the portal of self-revealing and self-betterment. So now she could tell us the message of, guys, just continue being more tolerant and amazing.
For extensive engagement, but as difficult as it can be, reaching out to someone we disagree with is an option that is available to all of us. And I sincerely believe that we can do hard things, not just for them, but for us and our future. Escalating disgust and intractable conflict are not what we want for ourselves or our country or our next generation.
So she's saying, no, we don't want disgust. We don't want to feel shame. We don't feel shame. We just are, I was born this way. I was born this way relentlessly. I was born this way. And I need to just reach out and hold other people's hand and just blindly lead them down the piping hole. And this, and that, and this, and that. Right? For who knew that the wisdom of the word of God, right, entails the resolve of everything that any person ever experienced in life. Whether you see it as long ago, present, or some past future, no, exactly. There's no such thing, for that is just fantasy. For what we have is the saving word in the flesh and also in spirit. But do we allow it? Do we accept it? Do we draw near, or do we draw near to our own spiritual awakening and our own higher achievement of self and swimming in the astral planes of nowhere and this and that and that and this and that? Wow. Transcendence and this.
My mom said something to me a few weeks before I left West Peru.
So this person, her whole talk could have been just like, wow, we can do hard things. We can have engagement with people that we disagree with, right? Because who knew that's it all comes down to God, right? And the saving word, right? For what is it? Is it just our bash whispers and words that we came up with some bash alphabet and now we're just bash figuring it out from bash nothing? No. Who knew that it's the word, but is it man's word or the saving word of the Creator embedded in our hearts? What is it that we seek in the world if it's not the gain for ourselves? Exactly. We become just a savage vulture that's scavenging, what he can reclude and just harvest and taketh what he deems he deserves. For it's just when you're hungry you must feed, and it's scarce, people. It's so scarce. And this and that and this and this and that, and wow, all of a sudden your bash murmured by some bash, circling abyss of just a poacher that's poaching you and just savagely ravaging you and just sodomizing you in the dark.
I was desperately hoping there was a way I could stay with my family. People I have loved with every pulse of my heart since even before I was that chubby-cheeked 5-year-old standing on a picket line holding a sign I couldn't read. She said, "You're just a human being, my dear, sweet child." She was asking me to be humble, not to question, but to trust God and my elders. But to me, she was missing the bigger picture, that we're all just human beings, that we should be guided by that most basic fact and approach one another with generosity and compassion.
Right. So instead of saying, well, yeah, I accept and I was humbled that I'm just a human being, and everybody is faced with that, right? Nobody's greater than what they say they are. For even what they say they are is just a fantasy that they impose on others to identify them as through their achievements or their accomplishments or their success. Or this, or just judge me by the people that are around me. See, look, I'm of character. Bash, this, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. Wow. Right? But what do they worketh? Right? What's in their foreheads and in their hearts relentlessly day in, day out? For who knew people are aware of deception? They know they're the master deceptors. Everybody's out there deceiving putting face, keeping appearance, and this and this and that, and this and this and that. Wow, so now we're all just human people. And my mother missed the point because we're all human and she was going against them and this and that. Wow, exactly. This person has zero notion. But does this person, did they ever go to Sunday school or Saturday school or whatever, Bash? No. Because what? Right? The saving word says forgive, love, right? Overcome. Only in truth, which is the way in the life. Not in your own way, in your own bash, acceptance and tolerance of things that could potentially be evil. But guys, remember, don't assume bad intent. And this and this and this and this and that and this that, because don't worry, you have no discernment of the knowledge of good and evil. So that's why you just have to bash, just treat it like logic and reason. Just these are the rules. These are the 4 steps. Number 1, don't assume bad intent. Okay, you got that, people? Just forget your empath, triggers. Just come on. All we want is have civil discourse, this, and that, because we're all just human. Right? Because it couldn't be that, yes, we're all just human, but ultimately we're all just boasting and doing us that will and thinking that somehow we're going to just go the same way. Wow, what shame. Into what you think is the future and the betterment. Oh, but it's because every one of these people believes in self-betterment as they can, and they're just doing their best. Best at what? Exactly nothing. Just perpetrators of the same bash and all in the same fantasy, right? Seduced by the same murmur and witchcraft and bash manipulation, ways of achieving alchemy and this and this and that and that. Oh, you're the influence, you're the success. Oh, draw it to you. Power of attraction, this and that, and boasting and huffing and affirmation. But all of them still lacking, void, right? Still going into talks like this to find some sort of wisdom. Wow. And this person that apparently left some religion, and then don't worry guys, just leave your religions and just jump with us. Come with us because we've been relentlessly right the whole time, right? So even those people historically came from a believer, so they're just a rebel, or somehow they're enlightened ones, and everybody was in the dark before. Everybody just had no clue. They were just bashed. They had just bashed nothing. And you say, oh, they're just repeating myths and myths that shape over time and bash. Right, so even in that logic, that means that, wow, it's true. But it just shape time, but it's not true, right? For the saving word is only one source, the only lawgiver, the only lawmaker. And Christ Jesus, yes. The ultimate revelation that it is finished. Who knew? So now what are we doing? What is it for us to recognize? For no aspiration of 2050 future or whatever bash aspirations for technology. No. What is the work being done? What are the fruits of our labor, meaning of all the effort that you will boast, you say you're doing to make the world a better place? Right? For ultimately that comes to you see and recognize your creator and honor the saving word and worship God Almighty, or are you just out there rebelliously just crying out victimhood to the 33rd degree and just bashing, crying out loud?
Each one of us contributes to the communities and the cultures and the societies that we make up. The end of this spiral of rage and blame begins with one person who refuses to indulge these destructive, seductive impulses. We just have to decide that it's going to start with us. Thank you.
Right, so she's like, okay, it starts with us, people. Right, because she wants you to believe that it starts with you, right? You could just go out there, do as you will, just go out there and smash, just deny your rebellious ways to just lash out, just impersonate that you care and ask questions and this and open the discourse to be defiled. Amazing. Yay. Because there's no such thing as certainty, and all we have to do is just hold hands and just jump off the bridge while